Hello, I'm Anna Wild, the Birth Whisperer, your guide from a bad birth to a better birth, and it is my mission to support you with the calmness and confidence that you need for giving birth. Today I am super excited to be talking with Sarah Clark, creator and writer behind Mamabirth, an amazing blog which supports women to feel good about childbirth. She is also an instructor and a board member for Birth Boot Camp, which is a childbirth education company specialising in preparing couples for positive birth through education and training doulas. She's also an author and a mother of four, and she lives in Northern California. Sarah, I'm so grateful that you're here with me today and to share your wisdom with women in need.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your own births. Why were they joyful experiences, which is what you've written on your about page? I'm really interested in this idea of joy.
Okay, I have four children, and each birth experience was wonderful. They were all a little different in different places and things like that, but they were all great births. I think we tend to think of joy or a good experience as being perfect and maybe happy and without bumps, and birth isn't always that way. It's joyful because of the hard things that happen. Sometimes I think you find out how strong you are. That was a big thing that I learned from birth, was I realized how much I was capable of that I never knew I was capable of. And I think there's a lot of joy in learning that about yourself and learning your own strength and kind of making it through something difficult and getting to the end and just having experienced all of it. I think it's a beautiful journey, and I love birth and love watching people go through this process to prepare for birth.
Right, so Sarah, many people would think, oh, well, that was just luck for her. You know, she had these good experiences, it was just a fluke. And they can often experience birth as terrifying, painful, if they've been through it before, or expect that birth is going to be a terrifying ordeal. What would you say to this?
Um, I think undeniably there is some luck in birth, and I feel very, very lucky to have had great birth experiences. But I also feel like there are so many factors that can go in that can, I like to use the phrase, stack the deck in your favor. Like there's things you can do to help optimize the chance of you having a great experience. And for me, that was education. I took a great birth class with a good friend, and I learned so much. And my husband took it with me, and it was wonderful. And so I really felt like, looking back, that if I hadn't had the knowledge I'd had, and my husband didn't also have that knowledge, that I would have had a very different birth experience. My first labor was very long, and it wasn't maybe what I'd expected, but I was able to do it and have a natural birth, and it it was great. And I felt like the education that I got was key to that process.
Right, so you're saying that education is really important, which I guess implies that we are in some way not very well educated about birth. Can you say something about this?
Sure. I think that's true. I think people know about birth, but often what they know is not positive, and it's not things that will prepare them for a good experience. I think we hear horror stories from our friends and our relatives, and see a lot of negative media representations of birth too. And even if they're not negative, they tend to not be accurate. And so we go into birth thinking it's really fast, it's really awful, you're lucky to survive, and you might have the baby in the elevator. And that is just, it's not real realistic, and it doesn't prepare people for the reality of birth, which is often takes many hours. And although it's not breezy, it can be a really amazing experience. So, yeah, I think seeking out education sources, women that have had the birth you want and can help prepare you for that, and just surrounding yourself with good people, reading great books, taking a great birth class, of course, is important to me. All those things can help give you an education in birth that can prepare you for an actual joyful birth.
Fantastic. And so to really clearly name your top tips for having a better birth, what would they be?
Um, I think there are a couple of things that are really important. One is educating yourself, which we talked about. The second thing, and which I really go over in classes and with anybody I meet, is just to choose your birthplace carefully. Know your options in your community. It's great to have a knowledgeable woman that can help kind of guide you through that. What hospital does this, and which care providers are supportive of your desires. So choosing your birthplace is so important, because even if you are really well prepared and really well educated, if your birthplace doesn't support what you want, then it's very likely you'll get a very different experience than what you desire. So that is huge. And number 3, I would say, build your team around you, build supportive birth teams. So that includes choosing not just a birthplace, but a great care provider, knowing the options. I really do encourage, and many of my students do choose midwifery care. So midwifery care often has a more positive approach to birth that is helpful for helping women have a birth experience that they're happy with. But not just a midwife. Choose a doula too. I think doulas can be really helpful in supporting that emotional growth and the emotional journey of birth. Of course, bring your partner on board and get them educated and knowledgeable and excited. I often see in class where mom is excited about birth and has read stuff, but her partner is, he's really scared and he doesn't want to see her suffer. But you can remove that fear on the partner's end too, with education and just helping them see that this can be great. On that team, I also include chiropractors. I feel like they can really help prepare a birthing woman for labor and birth. So education, birthplace, and care provider. Those would be my top 3. There's a lot of other things that go into it, from your emotional preparation to your physical preparation and your emotional preparation, learning to relax. All those things are so important. But if you get those first 3 things in order, I think things tend to fall into place.
And finally, just your last words of wisdom to anyone who may be watching this who feels a bit anxious about birth. What do you want them to know in their heart?
I want them to know that they can do it. That is what I want people to leave with when they read my blog or take my class or any of those things. I want them to know that they can do it. I want them to know there's many women that have done it before them. They are here, so we're all proof of that. And there's many that will come after, and that they are not alone, and they're not alone in fears. I think fears are totally normal and natural, and they're okay. They help us choose to prepare, and they help point out, okay, this is new. Let's figure out what we can do to get ready for this experience. So don't be afraid of your fears. Use them to prepare, and just know that you're not alone and you can do this.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you, Sarah, many times. It's just been great talking with you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.